Hi, comrades. How's it going? Welcome again to YDSA's annual winter conference. We're so happy to see all 275 of you all. I think that's our attendance, basically. Again, my name's Kristen, and this is Amelia, and we're your national co-chairs. And we're coming together in the Chicago Teachers Union Hall, a beautiful union hall, during a really pivotal moment in the American socialist movement. We have Bernie Sanders, a Democratic socialist, as the front runner of the Democratic primary, of the presidential race. We won in Iowa and New Hampshire by putting forth a bold Democratic socialist vision based on Medicare for all, college for all, a Green New Deal, and we see that the working class of America agrees with us. You know, democratic socialism is all about merging socialist consciousness with the working class, and I think we're succeeding so far. And that has to do with a lot of the organizers in this room, so you should all be very, very proud of yourselves. We also see militant labor unions across the country on strike, fighting for more, fighting for a better world for themselves and for the entire community. You know, here in Chicago, the teachers union fought alongside SEIU 73 back in October, and they won higher wages and better conditions not just for themselves, but for students, and as we learned yesterday, for housing conditions across the city. And yeah, it's...
So at this conference, we have young socialist organizers from all across the country united in one room together. How incredible is that? So I really want to ask you all to try and take advantage of this time here as much as possible and meet new people, reach out, discuss what's going on your campus, discuss what campaigns that you're doing, and share and learn and grow together. And it's really important. I want to stress the importance of student power and the power of young people, because we've seen it proven in Chile, in Quebec, even in the United States in the 1960s and 1970s, that when students lead fights for democracy and for socialism alongside workers, we win. So I'm going to lead you all in a chant right now. I'm going to say when we fight, and you all are going to say we win. When we fight, 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 we win. Have a great conference, everybody.
Thank you, Kristen and Amelia. We're going to get started with our first plenary, Organizing for a Green New Deal. Could our speakers please come up to the stage so we can get started?
Hi everyone, my name is YDSA. I am the co-chair of Loyola Chicago YDSA. I am also the chair of the Green New Deal Committee for YDSA's National Green New Deal campaign. And I am the environmental justice facilitator for Chicago YDSA. I started organizing around environmentalism 2 years ago. I had first started organizing because Michael Brown was murdered in Ferguson. And my brother is mixed. And it was the first moment that I realized that I could not sit there with my white privilege while my brother was at risk. So that was That was the moment that I realized that I needed to fight for someone other than myself. And my approach to environmentalism and being an eco-socialist was much of the same, because while we all deserve a livable planet that's just and anti-racist, feminist, I wanted to make sure that the world that I was trying to make, like with YDSA, with my organizing, was better for my brother. And it's been fantastic to see how the Sanders campaign has specifically said, like, we are here because we are willing to fight for someone other than ourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashik Sadiq. I'm from Metro DC YDSA, and for the past year I've been a member of the steering committee of YDSA's Eco-Socialist National Working Group, which is now coordinating the Green New Deal priority campaign for the organization. So just a little bit about myself. I just want to preface everything by saying I'm so impressed by all of you coming to your politics at this point where you are in college. When I was your age, my politics were pretty much the Iraq War is bad and Bush is bad. And my first major political rally was the Rally to Restore Sanity in DC, which I'm supporting. So pretty embarrassing. I'm deeply impressed by all of you being much further along in the process, and also actually learning to organize, which is something that even years after starting to think of myself as a socialist, it took me a few years to actually figure out how to organize. So I came to climate organizing through a group called the Climate Mobilization, which was active for a few years before a lot of this momentum has really started to kick off with the Green New Deal and AOC and Bernie Sanders really leading the way toward Green New Deal. It was advancing the scale and speed of climate action that's actually that actually matches the urgency of the climate crisis, which 6 years ago when we started, not many other people are actually doing. It was talking about mobilizing the entire national economy on the scale and speed of World War II, essentially, which is the last time in U.S. history that the federal government has ever done anything so directing how industry works, and actually just enough to do any kind of big national project. That was the New Deal and World War II mobilization. But pretty soon into doing that work, I realized that things like that don't just happen without a massive organized left. That's building working class power to actually make major changes to the economy in equitable ways. You can't just do something like that in a very top-down way. And the work mobilization is a typical comparison in that way because it was very top-down. But it wouldn't have happened in the way it did without a decade of the New Deal leading up to it, that building a lot of worker power and extracting major concessions from capital to deal with the crisis of the Great Depression that's been happening for years. So anyway, it became clear that we were never going to deal with the climate crisis at the necessary speed and scale unless there was a massive organized left working class movement, a movement of movements, because to deal with the climate crisis we need to have at least a strong federal program as it was happening in the 1930s and 40s. And at the time we started, there wasn't any kind of left like that. So anyway, after doing that for a few years, I joined YDSA, and it became pretty clear to me that we needed socialism, instead of barbarism, and it had to be ecologically focused to deal with the crisis we're facing. So I'll leave it at that.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Estelle. I use they, them pronouns. I'm here in Chicago. I'm a member of the National Political Committee for DSA, and I was on that planning committee for this winter convention, so it's so amazing to see all of you here this morning. I'm so glad everybody made it to the 6-degree weather or whatever we're in right now. So I really wanted to take a moment in my introduction to talk about the various types of organizations that I've been in. Because I've been involved with student organizing and youth organizing since about 2011. And I've been in a wide variety of types of organizations. And I think my point that I really want to make while I'm up here is that building organization is the most important thing that young people can be doing. Great, perfect. Thank you, Anna. So in 2011, I got politicized by the Occupy movement, and I was at UC San Diego at the time, and I got very quickly involved with a fight to stop privatization at the University of California. And there were a bunch of us who were like anarchists and people who had been recently politicized that were like, we need to build a student union at the statewide level. And we tried to get in motion, but we didn't know how to build an organization, and it fell apart very quickly. I was also involved in a local, at UCSD, a campus-based environmental justice collective that controlled $400,000 of the university budget, and we were redistributing that to organizations. Then when I graduated, I moved out to Chicago, and I was involved with National Students for Justice in Palestine, which was sanctions movement, and trying to build campus power across the country. And then I started working with a group that was building a formation called Student Power Networks, which may still exist in some states, but we were basically trying to take Black Lives Matter organizers and fossil fuel divestment campaigns, and there may have been a YDSA chapter or two that was engaged in some of those. We were trying to stitch together people that were working on different campaigns to all be in motion together and do coalition and network building. And then I took a job at a group called Power Shift Network, where I was on staff for about 5 years, and we were a network of 85 organizations, from campus-based fossil fuel divestment campaigns all the way up to 350.org and other gigantic international nonprofits. And the idea was that we could identify resources that could be shared across organizations. People could be united in motion together, guided by a set of democratic organizing principles, and we could be building power and training young people in the skills necessary to organize within the limits of the nonprofit industrial complex and what we were working around. So we did campaigns around pipelines, especially the Line 3 pipeline in Minnesota, as that started to happen. Come together. We were working with some of the folks that were working on fossil fuel divestment, and then came together to form Sunrise. We did some direct actions in DC, Democracy Spring, where we shut down the Capitol for a week. And we were working on a lot of different tactics, but there were serious limits because everybody had a very wide range of politics and a wide range of organizational forms that they were involved in. I also then joined YDSA in 2017 and started to get involved at the local level in Chicago as that was being built by some of the comrades that you will see that are not YDSA members walking around, some of the people with gray hair in the room. They built Chicago YDSA into a really fighting organization that ended up electing 6 socialists to city council. I then got involved with helping build a campaign to take our electric utility here in Chicago, ComEd, under public ownership. Right now it's a private utility, and it's facing a 30-year contract renegotiation. And I'll talk about that more when we talk about Green New Deal stuff. And I started to get more and more involved at YDSA, and I knew that Green New Deal organizing was going to become a priority, or people were doing a lot of organizing around it in the lead up to the 2019 convention. And so I decided to quit my job and pour all of my time into building YDSA, and then a couple people convinced me to run for the National Political Committee. And so now I'm very much involved in building the organization, and I'm really happy that we're all here and we're talking about the Green New Deal.
Associate Director of Warehouse Workers for Justice, a worker center based in North America's, outside of North America's largest in the country, in Joliet, Illinois. We are a project that was started by the United Electrical Workers in the wake of the Republic Windows and Doors occupation in 2008. This occupation happened during the height of the economic meltdown and was an illegal and militant action that targeted Bank of America after our country's bailout of the financial sector. The organizers and workers who participated in that action were sure that this militancy would spread to other workplaces and unions around the country. You know, we're on our way still. Something that did not ultimately happen immediately anyway. The other story of the occupation Was the Republic Windows and Doors was the last of a series of manufacturers that were organized by the UE that had either closed their doors or moved to other parts of the world with lower labor standards. While this was happening, there was a major proliferation of warehouses outside of North America's largest inland port, Centerpoint in Joliet and Elwood, Illinois. We have this saying where Joliet and Elwood were on a mission from God. With six of our country's 7 Class 1 railroads converging in Chicagoland, our region has always been a major part of moving goods in our country. However, the shift of manufacturing from the United States to East Asia increased the economic importance of warehousing in our country. Will County, with its workforce, available cheap land, and railroad and highway assets, was a prime location for warehousing. Since the creation of the inland port in 2002, we have seen the area grow to well over 300 warehouses and become a who's who of Fortune 500 companies. IKEA, Home Depot, Target, Best Buy, the Mars Corporation, and in recent years, Amazon. We are at a choke point in the distribution of goods for some of the richest and most powerful corporations in the entire world, and they have to be here and cannot move. In Chicagoland, there are almost 200,000 warehouse working jobs. A workforce that, if organized, could have tremendous power and influence over these entities. This is the dream of our project. 3.5% of the nation's GDP and hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods come in and out of our area annually. Yet, 63% of the workers aren't directly hired and work through staffing agencies. In fact, there are 99 staffing agencies in Will County alone. There's discrimination of workers based on their race, gender, immigration status, and issues like wage theft and health and safety are very serious problems. You're probably asking yourself, what does any of this have to do with a Green Deal, our environmental justice, employment? But 2 years ago, a group of rural and overwhelmingly white residents in Elwood, Illinois began revolting against more warehousing being built in the area. While we had campaigned for better working conditions in the industry, we came to find that the same corporations that exploited workers also took advantage of local communities. Fatalities from truck accidents were on the rise. Elwood, population 2,200, was over $38 million in debt from signing bad tax deals with developers. And infrastructure is in dangerous disrepair because of overuse by logistics industries. The I-80 bridge in Joliet, a main entrance to the port, has a safety rating of 7 and 9 out of 100. In contrast, the I-35 Minneapolis bridge that collapsed was 50 out of 100. And then there's the environmental destruction. Diesel emission from the over 10,000 trucks that travel the area daily have contributed to 8% of the population being diagnosed with asthma over the last few years. And that's new diagnoses. While there's been exponential growth in the area, the water aquifer is projected to be completed by 2030. This doesn't take into account the loss of some of the best farmland in the world and the overall loss of natural land. Our transportation hub, one of the largest in the world, is also disproportionately contributing to the global climate crisis. Transportation is now the largest contributor to climate change in our state of Illinois and nationally. We came to the realization that the same business entities that exploit our workforce have the same disregard for the communities and our environment. We realized that we were more powerful together and we need to unite to change all of our conditions. That instead of black and brown workers and rural whites, and some of them are Trump supporters, being divided, that we need to focus our attention on holding corporate America responsible for climate, labor, and environmental justice together. We've kicked out staffing agencies in town. We stopped ridiculous tax breaks and bad warehouse projects. Warehouses have even been organized into unions. We're even part of a larger effort to get Amazon to make and do a climate pledge and build 100,000 electric vehicles. And we aren't done, we're just getting started with that, by the way. I hope our story can be an example of how the fight for labor and environmental justice can be one and the same. We need a Green New Deal, and I believe we can connect fights like the ones in Will County to this broader framework. Even if Bernie Sanders gets elected, we need to realize support does not yet exist for a Green New Deal. Largely, our political movements lose support for policies like a Green New Deal when we leave the city cores like Chicago. Exactly in places like Will County, where it tends to be both more working class and more conservative. I believe that if groups like the DSA get involved in fights like ours, outside of city cores and university towns, we can and we will win a Green New Deal.